Hello and welcome everybody to Game 3 of EGHuK versus oGsTheSC from MLG Orlando. This is Game 3 of the upper bracket final, meaning the player that wins this match is going to be moving on to the finals at MLG Orlando and spawning in the bottom left position as the blue Terran. Playing for Team OGS, we have the STC. Spawning in that upper right position as the red Protoss, playing for Team Evil Geniuses, we have EGHuK. So far, both of these players were able to take a win each. In Game 1, the STC went for some very early aggression, went for a proxy barracks, was able to get a very fast concussive shell up, went for some very heavy aggression as EGHuK tried to expand, was able to take him out with some nice marine marauder control in EGHuK's own base, just had bunkers building in EGHuK's base, units rallied in from all over the place, was able to just break EGHuK at the front. But in Game 2, the STC decided to go for a bit more macro-style play on Tal'Darim Altar, which is a much more big, wide-open map, definitely much more viable to do so there. But EGHuK decided that he wanted to go for that big aggression, wanted to be sure he could take Game 2, hid an early pylon in the natural expansion of the STC's base, and then just started warping units into the natural while attacking simultaneously from the back and front. Was able to break the defenses of the STC as he tried to expand, and so now we do have Game 3 here, and the winner of this match is, of course, gonna be the victor of the best of 3. Both these players going for a little bit of banter. I'm not even exactly sure what all that is about. I think there is a deal with Team Liquid and OGS where I think some of the Liquid players, specifically EGHuK, I think being the most notable one, going to train in Korea, and I believe he actually stays at the OGS house in Korea and he trains with them on a regular basis, so he's very close and very familiar with all of the members of OGS. As you can see, EGHuK, he called the STC Hyung, which in Korean means older brother. So yeah, so both these players getting a little bit affectionate here in this last match. This Game 3 is going to be on Antiga shipyards. Notice they are also cross-position, which I think is the only way that you can actually spawn. In the MLG version of this map, I think you can only spawn cross-positions, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. But that, of course, means that because the rush distances are so very long, rushing on this map is not nearly as viable, and we're much more likely to see a drawn-out macro game. But EGHuK, as we can see, is a little bit weary right now. He is once again saving up all that energy on his Nexus. He's worried for that early aggression that he's seen out of the STC twice in a row. Game 2, he could tell that the STC, it kind of felt like he was going for some early aggression there with that early concussive shell and things. So EGHuK definitely wants to try to play it safe. He's seen the STC go for a lot of early aggression here, so we want to be saving up that chrono boost so that he can start chrono boosting out these gateways if he really needs to. Now we do see the STC moving across the map here with this one probe, and this is pretty much what confirms it to me that both of these players are going to be getting that this map is cross position only, because as you can see from the mini map, both players just immediately scouted cross positions. They didn't actually scout these positions at all. Both of them just went cross map there. Yikes, man, I lost my train of thought right there in the middle of that sentence. That was no good. Anyway, EGHuK now getting his expansion up. Both these players actually getting a natural expansion up, that is. And EGHuK, again, with that good pylon placement. You always want to be placing pylons and supply depots around the edges of your base. As you can see, this would be another beautiful spot to have it back here in the clouds where you can't actually see. Even if you have a marine standing right here, you won't actually be able to see what is in these clouds. So it is possible to hide a pylon back there, do all kinds of sneaky stuff that way. And look at this, the STC being very good about his scouting. He's checking all around his base, making sure that there are no pylons going down anywhere. He's already scouted around in here as well to just be sure that there are no hidden pylons going down. Needs to play it very safe. Brilliant play here from the STC. Very safe play. Absolutely love it. But holy barracks, Batman. There are a ton of barracks right now going up for the STC. There are currently 5 barracks up. No gas mined at all yet for the STC. He is focusing strictly on minerals, getting up a lot of economy. And let's check out what that harvester count is right now. Oops, that's not the harvester count. There we go. The harvester count, we can see EGHuK is up 33 to 29 harvesters right now. And that is, of course, due to those wonderful chrono boosts on those Nexi, getting up lots of them probes early on. As we can see, At this point in time, EGHuK is focusing a lot on getting out a lot of sentries because sentries are good at spending your gas and they get better with time. Over time, they tend to save up more and more energy, so they actually get better from the time you build them. Whereas a Zealot, you build it and it just kind of sits there. If he were to make, instead of these 3 sentries, he had 3 Zealots, then imagine, he would just have 3 Zealots that are just sitting here right now. They don't get better at time, and in fact, it's money that he spent that he's not even using. So in a way, they kind of lose value over time. For every second that you have a Zealot that you're not really doing anything with it, I mean, in a way, that Zealot is kind of losing value because you could be using that Zealot and wandering the maps, scouting your opponent. There are things you could be doing with that Zealot, but you're losing value by just having it sit there. These sentries, though, on the other hand, these sentries gain energy over time. So by getting these sentries, they actually increase in value over time. So it's definitely a good idea to be getting those sentries early on. Also, just because they don't spend that much minerals, you can also focus a lot on getting that minerals up. And oh no, the STC moving forward with tons of Marines, able to pick off all the units of EGHuK there. Beautiful control there by the STC, but man, EGHuK really needed to pull that back. But there is another force going around the side, though, that is going to try to sneak into the natural expansion. In the meantime, all these Marines are going to be pushing up into the main of EGHuK right now, but there's still a bunker up here for with these Marines here, and it looks like EGHuK is just going to be forced to pull back. The STC is about to get into the natural expansion of EGHuK, and beautiful force fields going down here from EGHuK, managing to trap off some of those Marines, but as we can see, a lot of those Marines still running around the sides. Only a few are currently not able to shoot at anything right now. More Zealots being warped in right now, and it looks like EGHuK is actually going to be able to hold this off amazingly. Man, those Zealots are really, really good against Marines. They take so little damage from Marines. They're just ridiculously good. Holy cow, those Zealots are going to be able to finish off that attack force without even needing any of these ones that were back at his opponent's base. Now, we do see a fast third coming out here for the STC. Definitely a smart play by him. He wants to try to expand as long as he's being aggressive, and whoa, we have an interestingly placed forward pylon here for EGHuK as well. If he needs to, he can warp units in, and I think that's actually how he get that first set of units in there. I completely missed that there. I apologize for that. Didn't even see him throw that pylon down there. So EGHuK fooling even me, who has full access of the mini-map. Apparently, I am not nearly as good at watching my mini-map as some of these professional players. Now, there we go. There's STC throwing down those helpful supply depots all around, and EGHuK is deciding to get a little bit aggressive. He's moving in here. He's going to poke in, be able to see that there are 2 bunkers up right now, and that is a lot of Marines. Those Marines don't currently have any upgrades at all. They don't have that combat shield yet, though it is being researched somewhere. There's that combat shield being researched, as well as the stim and the concussive shells as well. So it looks like from the STC, we're going to be seeing heavy Marine and bio-focused play. Now, we do have a Ghost Academy up as well, so that's going to be very, very helpful. We could see some kind of Ghost timing push here from the STC. Ghosts, of course, very, very good with their EMPs. They're able to take out all the shields and energy of a lot of Protoss units. And so they're going to be very, very, very strong against any gateway composition there. And whoa, nice force field going down. I don't know that 2 were really necessary there to get out that 1 SCV. I think he probably would have got it either way, but it looks like the STC might be looking to get a little bit aggressive here. He's moving out all these maps, all these units into the center of the map. And now in the base of EGHuK, what do we have here but a lot of gateways going down right now for EGHuK. Looks like we currently have 8 gateways up, as well as a robotics facility. We've got a forge going down that is just now starting to research that +1 ground weapons. We also see a Twilight Council down, but nothing coming out of it yet. Wouldn't be surprised if he starts researching that Zealot charge. EGHuK is definitely a fan of lots of early game Sentry Zealot play. As we can see, that's exactly what he's going for here. He uses Blink Stalkers when he wants to be very aggressive, when he wants to be very mobile and take advantage of mobility. He will go for very Blink Stalker heavy builds and be like poking all over the map, blinking up into the main, doing all kinds of fun little pokes with Blink Stalkers. But this is another play that he's very, very well known for doing very often, going for this very heavy Zealot Sentry play, which is going to do very well against the Marines and all these bioforces. The force fields are going to be able to cut those forces up into smaller groups, and then he gets these Colossi on top of that, which are able to deal lots of damage from a distance. And as we can see right now, the STC is not going to have the necessary tech to get a lot of Vikings up very quickly. Somewhere we do have a starport going down. We do have +1 infantry armor on the way, +1 infantry weapons already finished, and there's the starport now going down, as well as the reactor. So it looks like he's going to be getting some medevacs out of there. But the STC now starting to focus down the destructible rocks at the back of EGHuK's base, and I think HuK is aware of this right now as he's trying to move his units into position, figure out exactly where his opponent is going. He's got this forward observer, which is going to be scouting this army, and in the meantime, I'm trying to keep an eye on this one pylon. I want to be sure I don't miss anything that comes out of that pylon ever again, and it looks like now he has revealed to his opponent that Colossi are out on the field, and Colossi is what he's going to be going for. So we might see the STC here start to pump out some of those Vikings to get to be able to deal with some of those Colossi. But as we can see, the barracks count here for the STC is starting to get pretty high right now. And whoa, we actually have a second starport coming down as well as another command center. So it looks like he's going to start to go into heavy medevac and Viking production just because he's at this point going to be very worried about the Colossus count of HuK. And now HuK is going to be moving out there. Those Colossi doing lots and lots of damage to this bio army. Look at all that damage being dealt. All those Marines going down so fast to these Colossi. And at this point, the STC just really doesn't have the forces to be able to deal with those Colossi, and he's taking so much damage. So many EMPs went down. As you can see, all the shields for all the gateway units are absolutely decimated, but the force fields were able to trap a lot of those units, and once they engaged, it was pretty much, those force fields pretty much forced the STC to fight. He can't just poke in, attack, and then pull back. If he pushes in and HuK is able to get those force fields off and trap half of his army, then he's pretty much committed to that fight or just sacrificing all of those units. And so, beautiful force fields there from HuK, forcing his opponent into that position. And now HuK is just going to be freely taking his third expansion, getting that up very well saturated, starting to really kick into that gateway production mode. And as we can see, he's now starting that Zealot charge, as well as the +2 ground weapons, +2. Do we have another forge? Yeah, there we go. There's that other forge. Researching that +1 ground armor as well. And Colossi continue to just be produced out of that robotics facility. The extended thermal lance has been done for a little while. And now looks like he's just going to be relying on this warp gate and Colossus tech here for quite a while as he continues to chrono boost out these upgrades. Absolutely love this style from Protoss. This is something that HuK likes to do. I feel like HuK either goes full out Blink Stalker aggression all over the place, or he goes very, very conservative, plays very, very safe, plays very defensive, and gets up lots and lots of upgrades so that once he hits that critical 170, 180 food count, he can push out with this really strong army with lots of upgrades. As you can see, they're already 2-1 in attack and armor right now. +3 ground weapons already being started here for HuK. Brilliant, brilliant, love this. And we also have the +2 ground armor as well now coming up, and now a Templar archives being started here for HuK, so it looks like he's going to be starting to worry about transitioning into some high Templar, which I think is a very, very wise move, just because he already revealed his Colossi, and he showed that he's going to have a lot of Colossi out on the field with this gateway mix. He knows his opponent is going to kick into Viking production. He knows that is just the proper response from Protoss, or from Terran opponents rather. So he needs to start switching to some other kind of tech, and he's trying to stay ahead of his opponent's tech, and that's exactly what he's doing right now, is that by getting up those Psy Storms early, he's going to be able to have units, he's going to be able to have Archon tech ready to go already. And as we can see, there are Vikings here, but this isn't that high of a Viking count. The Colossus count here is very high. They're starting to cut through all those forces. The Zealot charge is done. All those Zealots are starting to deal a lot of damage to these Marines. These Stalkers cutting straight through the Viking count. Colossi now coming in, trying to deal as much damage as they can. There are some ghosts here, EMPs going down all over those Colossi, but there's just nothing that can deal damage to those Colossi right now, as all the gateway units of HuK now move forward and start to decimate the forces of the STC. The STC before that fight was way ahead in food. Now he is down by about 20 food right now, and HuK is now going to start to apply some pressure here with that win while he takes his gold expansion. And look at that, Archons being morphed in at home. And that is, of course, because he knows his opponent is in full swing Viking production. He's still going to be producing some Colossi just because this push is doing so well right now, but he needs to be prepared. As you can see, look at how fast the STC was able to produce a lot of Vikings. I believe he's got 2 starports up right now, both producing Vikings and medevacs. That is going to get up the Viking count so very fast. +3 ground or infantry weapons as well as infantry armor now on the way. Ghosts, Marine, Marauder still being pumped out very quickly here by the STC. Got tons of barracks up right now, and but HuK, though, look at this. He has now taken center control. He's very, very strong right now. The STC just has managed to get up a 4th base, but HuK is going to be okay with that at this point, just because he has this gold base, which is going to bring in huge amounts of resources here for HuK. On the Harvester tab, we can see that the STC is up 82 Harvesters to 72, but I almost tend to think that that is a little too many. As you can see, in his main base, he's actually kind of oversaturated here. He's only got 4 mineral patches here, and there are a ton of workers actually working on that mineral patch. And I think 82 workers is actually a little bit excessive for Terran players. You generally want to be around 70 to 75 workers for Terran, especially because they have those mules that are able to get them quite a bit of minerals. Don't really need 82 workers. That is just a little bit too many workers. Now, we do have HuK continuing to upgrade lots of units, and oh no, HuK taking a lot of damage on those High Templars from those EMPs, loses all the energy, instantly tries to morph them into Archons, but look at the Viking count here from the STC. Gonna try to move in, try to pick off those Colossi. These Vikings, I think, are gonna be able to one-shot those Colossi if they focus fire them, and oh, so much damage being taken. There you go, lots of damage going down on that Colossi. One gets taken out there, and now the STC, who is currently maxed, holy cow, he is macroing so strong right now. He macroed up that army so very fast, and now that both these players are completely maxed and now going to just be adjusting their compositions to try to counter their opponent's composition. It's now going to be a little bit more back and forth. HuK is definitely going to need to rely a little bit more on High Templar right now, just because that Viking count is so high. He needs to switch away from this Colossus tech, go for lots of Psy Storms and High Templar, pretty much negating all of this Viking production that the STC had. And here comes HuK moving in with lots of charge slots, and there are so many SCVs actually here joining the fight. I think they're actually here to repair the Vikings, or I don't know whether he was just transferring them or whether they got stuck in a control group, but holy cow, HuK is demolishing the forces of the STC right now. These Colossus and these Archons doing so much damage, as well as these charge slots. These charge slots are currently 3-3-1 in upgrades right now, and HuK just smashing the STC in a beautifully played match there. Perfect composition that HuK needed to be able to destroy the forces of the STC. And check out the food count. HuK is just so good at macroing right now. As the fight is going on, he's warping in. What is this? This is 13 zealots at a time. That means somewhere around here he has 13 gateways up at least. Yeah, as we can see, look at that. The warp gate count is super high here for HuK, and he is just warping in units like a boss during the fight. Absolutely love that play there from HuK. That means, of course, that HuK has taken this series and is going to be moving on to the Grand Finals at MLG Orlando. If you want to know what actually happened in that Grand Finals, I don't think I'm going to be casting it. I might. I'm really excited about more MLG replays. I did watch that match, so I do know the outcome of it already, but I don't think I'm going to be quite casting it quite yet. So that's going to do it for me today, guys. I think I'm going to finish up on that game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at twitter.com/getglitched, and thank you guys so much for watching. GLiTCH out.